Hello. On this video we're going to go for a very casual and informal stroll through Au Naturel on creative mode. Not really trying to do anything, but I thought we'd have a nice little chat about the audio-visual additions and the relationship primarily between Au Naturel and the complementary shaders, which, as you can probably see, are basically the target for what the game was designed around and what my idea of good visuals in Minecraft will be. And the entire game is balanced around the idea of using the complementary shaders with the included settings. So if you're ever wondering what Au Naturel is supposed to look like, it's supposed to look like this, with the included complementary shaders pack. Euphoria patches as well, and all included settings. Now, you might see me just regularly switch between non-shaders and shaders. Just to sort of give you an example, I've included a few sort of mods and things to try to balance for non-shader users, but in case it needs to be said, my design goals in this entire project were designed around the use of complementary shaders. I understand that not everyone is going to have a computer powerful enough to do those to some extent, so I've tried to compensate a little bit for those who need to turn shaders off and whatnot. But honestly, before you turn shaders off, I would just tell you to, if you can at all, go into options, video settings, shader packs, go into complementary shaders. You won't, I don't think, have as many as me here. Shader pack settings, and change your performance settings or profile down to something much less if you're having performance things. Only as an absolute last extent should you, I guess, consider about moving down into the shaders completely off. But, you know, it's up to you, and I realise, yeah, not everyone has that option. In my experience, where are we here? Turning the profile to potato actually works pretty well. Still looks pretty good. All good. Anyway, let's have a nice little walk around, have a look at the world, and I'll see if I can just spontaneously have a few discussions about what I've aimed for and what I've done. Now, on these, I've gone for what I would consider relatively epic sunrises and sunsets. The color shift really leans into those reds and even blending into some extreme purples. I mean, light purples, nothing to make it so completely unbelievable. The kind of purples you might see in really good sunsets in the natural world. But yeah, they're in here, and they've been adjusted to make the sunrises and the sunsets look just about as best as they can. And that's another thing about the settings. They're balanced to try to create this, I don't know, this quaint balance between normal everyday life, the mundane, and just moments where you stop and look at the scenery and go, wow, I can't believe that's actually happening in Minecraft. That looks really good, but you can't have it look spectacular everywhere because I think there's on the order of like 400 to 600 biomes or something in Au Naturel. At this stage, you can't play through them all in one go. You're not going to experience them all in one go. And you can't balance the shaders to look equally spectacular for each of them at all times of the day in all weather settings. So you've got to try to find these settings which create this, yeah, really nice balance between sort of natural everydayness. Still looks really good if you ask me. And just moments of spontaneous beauty that you see throughout the world. Alrighty, let's go for a walk and see what happens. You'll see as we go, the sun is rising. I don't know about all of you. I can't stand the sort of blurry cartooniness of many shader effects that you see out there in the community. I really like this sort of clear, natural setting. I think by default the light and complementary shaders is a bit white, bit washed out. So Au Naturel aims to change the daylight light so it's a little bit more bluer, hopefully not taking the saturation in colors to an absolute extreme. You know, still very blue, It creates a very nice blue light in the middle of the day. And everything, I think, looks nice and sharp, good contrast. Not too blurry, but also not too perfectly and artificially sharp. Again, in my opinion. Now, aside from the visuals in Au Naturel, we of course have a whole list of mods and libraries around ambient sound and environment. I can't remember them. Oh, look at that rain. I'll let the rain go for now. I'll come back to sound and things in a little while. Weather is, of course, its own setting issue. It sounds like it's actually going to be a thunder storm. So when the weather rolls in, that's what sort of base Minecraft looks like without the shaders. Back to our specific shader settings. I've tried to go for this sort of, yeah, you really want the lighting to feel like it's gotten darker when a big storm rolls in, and you want it to feel like the rain is actually, you know, hitting and washing over the environment with some force. You don't want it to feel too empty, and you do sort of want it to obscure gameplay a bit. You want to feel like you're walking through a storm. And because of the temperature and system in Au Naturel, you do have some decisions to make about whether it's wise to go out into the rain and the darkness, especially in the heavier sort of rain. Anyway, I like trying to, even in sort of like, you know, basically middle of the day, gets quite foggy, gets quite dense. Everything feels, at least to me, like it's really raining. Yeah, they're pretty simple effects for the lightning and storms, but again, just I think far superior to the base Minecraft experience. Which looks like these days. So that being said, I think Au Naturel looks really good. For base Minecraft settings. You still feel like it's raining quite heavily. The sky's nice and dark. Get good frame rates and everything, and it's not hyper realistic, but it's still quite I think attractive in its own way. It's still very colourful, a lot of diversity in what you see. Anyway, back to the shader version. I've taken some explicit decisions with respect to how to colour and correct for the waters and things like that. Again, sort of this borderline between realism and attractiveness. You've got to trade the two off against each other, and of course game design and playability as well. Let's see what will happen if we do this. Those extra decals, they're called rain hitting the water from some mod. Can't remember what it's called at this point in time. Might try and go for a little walk back through this forest. Now the forests, yep, can get dark, especially when you're in a thunderstorm. Not fun. But yeah. Everything looks a bit nicer. So yeah, the forests can get rather dark and moody. After the thunderstorm especially, there'll be spiders, and obviously it depends on the forest, depends on the biome, depends on the density of the trees. Again, I still feel it looks really good in base Minecraft. Depending on your environment and the time of day, you'll get those lovely light rays that complementary shaders are, well, I think, so well known for. Looks really special. But again, we sort of want this general balance between, we don't want everything perfectly lit all the time, I think, which is, you know, in base Minecraft, got a little bit of sort of a lack of dynamic range in its lighting, and I actually want the choice of what you can see and not. I want you to not be able to see the entire environment. If we find some caves, I'll start talking about the decisions there as well. Because we've got to find some caves. But I wonder if we'll probably hit some bugs or some such as well, but you never know. I'll talk about those. I mean, I'll try and fix the bugs over time, but with a project this large, you're almost certainly going to hit some. I don't know if that's a nice cave to talk about. Yes, the ambient sounds, I think, are quite convincing. Quite nice. You've got a 3 or 4 sort of sound libraries sort of working all together. Sound mods, whatever you want to call them. Creates a, yeah, just a nice effect of being enmeshed in the environment. There's got to be some caves or something around here somewhere. Maybe over towards that mountain somewhere. May have noticed, of course, in Au Naturel, the traditional Minecraft bad guys are all turned off. They do not exist. This is a general design goal of the project to sort of mimic a natural environment. I may or may not extend into sort of more of the supernatural elements of Minecraft after I've at least got a working version of this one up, which you're pretty close to now. As you see, the afternoon sunsets, I think, look pretty cool. This is not so far actually one of the more dramatic ones. It depends a little bit on your viewing angle and what you can see, the landscape that you're in, as to how good it looks. We didn't get too many light rays this time, but that's right, we can try again on another day. So we transition into the night. That's a curious spider, I think, trying to attack a fly. Let's I think we're in the middle of a sort of a... So, thing about nighttime, and look, I don't know what YouTube's compression algorithms are going to do. My experience with it trying to render bad nighttime and stuff has not been the greatest. So I don't know if you're seeing exactly what I see here. The night is contextual with both the weather and the phase of the moon and the seasons. At the moment it looks like it's sort of a semi-new moon. Let's see if we can, I don't know, cycle through some time. See whether that changes anything and try and get to a... I don't actually know what the units of time are in Minecraft. Pretty. Is that a full moon? Yeah, so the darkness at night time is contextual upon the phase of the moon. On these big, bright, clear nights, yeah. I say clear and then, of course, that happens. Come on. Oh, I was going to say, I don't know where our moon's gone, but on these sort of bright starlit nights, nice auroras going on and full moon, it's not going to be as bright as daytime, obviously, but you should have some viewability at night time. On a new moon, or during big thunderstorms, should get very dark and you should not be able to see very much at all. A little bit of a gripe vanilla Minecraft, at least for the settings required to get this looking right, it looks quite bright at night. Now I do have the True Darkness mod installed, so during the full moon it's going to be relatively visible without shaders at night in Minecraft. During the new moons it's going to be pretty much pitch black for the people, well, for both of us, people playing without shaders and for those with. Alrighty, let's continue our little journey here. Spiders and things are going absolutely nuts. Creative, so they're not hopefully not going to bother me. Yep. Oh, that biome is over there with the lights. Curious. Now, even though the sort of supernatural elements of Minecraft have been removed, it doesn't mean that there aren't dangerous things around. I mean, during the day and at night, we've got these horrible buzzing bugs. I hate that noise, but of course I've got to leave it in. Yeah. Alright, so I've tried to tone the colorings and everything of nighttime to be relatively moody. I want the lighting to be just about right at night to work. That looks like a little cave system there. Time to add. Let's add a bit of light. Let's see where we get to. Right, looks like we're on the verge of sunrise. Don't know what sunrise is going to look like coming over that hill. Probably won't get. Actually, I don't know. Now, I'm playing with relatively large render distance for the Java version. Again, it's one of these cases where I think people have to sort of set the settings for themselves. I've got a relatively powerful computer that this is running on at the moment, and we're just running it in basic 1920 by 1080 resolution here, so it's not going to be surprising if a lot of computers can't match up this or can't match it at high res. I mean, that being said, my experience with Minecraft is that higher res doesn't really get you a lot more in terms of visual fidelity. So there's an argument to play at lower res just to improve the performance anyway, depending on your system and setup. There's some of those sort of like transitional purples and things that I was sort of talking about in between the nighttime and the daytime, which have sort of like really sort of, I don't know, think bring out the mood and can start to see some light versions of those sun rays that Complementary is known for. It's quite a nice contrast with the sort of yellow-green fields and the purple trees. And as we transition through the sort of sunrise into the daytime, the blues and blue light starts to take over from the reds, oranges. Everything starts to look really nice. So I'm going to head down to the water and look at this cave and just quickly discuss some of the cave lighting aspects. Well, I thought it was a cave. It is. Head this way. Now, the other aspect, final aspect of, I guess, lighting environments. moody. The caves are meant to be dark, very dark, pretty much pitch black if you don't have some sort of lighting source or some such. It's a very deliberate choice. I want them to feel menacing. I want them to feel like the unknown. Now, of course, there are some biomes in caves that light up the surrounds and look pretty spectacular in the right context. It'll take me a long time to go find those. There's some of those nice ambient cave noises. Some of the natural life even in the caves. Like we can go all the way through. Huh, how about that? Now the other choice in this has been to one of the options in complementary shaders is the emissive ores have and also reflective lights and things like that. I've toned down a lot of those. I know they can look sort of spectacular depending on your definition of spectacular, to varying degrees. I've tried to sort of keep them at a minimum. Now with the ores especially, part of that is a design goal, an explicit design goal. I don't want people to be able to stand at the mouth of a dark cave, look in, and instantly know or see that that cave is of value or not. Hello, Mr. Waddly Spider there, having a few pathing issues. I don't want people to be able to, stand at the mouth of a cave and see 3 diamonds, 5 redstone, X iron, or something like that. Let's see. That's explicitly not my goal. I want caves and the underground to be foreboding. I want it to be the unknown. I want people to have to face a challenge to actually go and seek out resources, and I don't want them to be able to see them. Now, you know, they've still got textures and things, still identify the ores, but they're not going to light up, and they're not going to give you huge, big flashing signs saying "Here be diamonds," or anything like that. So you have to, you know, carefully. There's coal and things over there. I'm sure that's. Yeah, I mean, you can identify other ores and things that are in this mountainside here. You know, not too many. Well, I say not too many high-value ones. In Au Naturel, there is some uses for copper and things like that, which are a bit better than in vanilla Minecraft. But yeah, I don't want you to be able to identify them without actually looking very closely. And possibly needing to craft up light sources and or thinking about your mining operations and how you're actually going to make this work. I think that's more or less, you know, most of it. Yeah, I'm really happy with how the complementary shaders are sort of working with this whole project. The lush areas look lush. The icy areas look icy, the deserts look deserty, the alien areas, I mean, you know, there's no real alien areas, but just seeing those sort of purple trees and things like that, make you go, oh, that's a bit of a weird environment. Yeah, but it's still sort of partially believable. Now that being said, I haven't balanced this whole thing for creative mode, so I don't want to fly around too much. I'll probably end up with some frame rate issues or processing things is my guess, but overall it's performing relatively well. What the hell is that? Probably a camel or something. Now, continue to work on everything and try to optimize it for playability. I think it's very important to sort of optimize the game as much as you can for playability and not just these sort of YouTube shorts or getting a frozen screenshot and saying, wow, doesn't that look nice? Yeah, 2 frames per second, it looks great. You know, with 5 minutes of pre-rendering, preloading of all the chunks, yeah, that's absolutely fantastic, great, no one can ever play like that. Whereas I think this sort of more organic walkthrough at least shows a sort of a case of the sort of performance that is possible. And I think it's important, yeah, as I said, to sort of try and balance the visuals around. So not all of the absolutely, I don't want to say stupid, insane shader settings are set on or set at the maximum. Again, this is a relatively powerful computer. Not everyone's going to be able to run this, but overall, I think it handles pretty well. And, you know, every now and then I just sort of sit back and I'm sort of amazed that computers these days are actually capable of this. To think about how far we've come from Minecraft 10, 15 years ago to this right now. Alright, that's pretty much it. I'll pop on to the next video.